Yes, and welcome back to a brand new episode of SPUD Quickies. I'm Maniacal Mac, and as usual, going to run through a bunch of films real quick. Hopefully, some you haven't seen, maybe some you've seen. Let me know in the comments what you think. Also, check out my Rumble account if you want to check out more Spuds, because a few of them have been taken off YouTube. So if you are enjoying them, want to watch more, check them down below. Okay, right. So first one we're going to go into came out in 2021. It's called Welcome to Spud. Sorry, man. Completely glitched out then. Try to wipe this from my memory so weird shit happens when I bring it back up. The Matrix Resurrections. What to say about this? You know, the trilogy, as a lot of people saying as it went on, it got worse. I was one of them ones who I agree the first was the best, but I quite like the second and third one. So when I heard about this coming out, it was going to come out, it didn't, and blah blah blah, and eventually it was. I was like, holy shit, it's in filming, it's going to happen. And then, you know, because of the situation of when it was being filmed and the world, how it was, and the limitations. But that aside, this had a huge budget and a pile of wank. Absolute disgust. Like, you know what I mean? I don't get the high ratings this gets. I've convinced people never to watch this because I'd say I prefer you to have a pure mind where you can watch the first three and this would never be in your memory and it won't tarnish that. I unfortunately watched it, so I can never remember the original three as I did. This is an insult to everything. That scene alone when they're like just talking like, oh, but Warner said if we don't do another Matrix film, we gotta do it. Like, yeah, we get that's the reason why, at least fucking try. Oh, that was super clever. What? They give you a middle finger straight to your face. If you think that's clever, then you're just a glutton for punishment. They give everyone a middle finger. The franchise, embarrassing. Embarrassing. Oh yeah, and Neo was never really the one the whole time. Oh yeah, let's do what we have to do. Make the female the power one. Oh, it's really going to be about Trinity. No, it's about both of them. Alright, whatever. We know where that went, don't we? Pile of wank. Disgraceful. There's so many things I could say about this. The Agent Smith, what? The Morpheus guy, I kind of partially liked him. Then when he started being over the top and he was just mocking Morpheus, it's like that's what I mean. What is this film? You're mocking what you are. Absolute dud. Matrix Resurrection, disgusted. So happy it flopped and we'll never see another Matrix film again. Just gutted that happened. Next one came out in 2022 this year. I watched recently. Called Feed Me. This is a really dark comedy. This is nuts, this one. So much, first thing I'm going to say is so much props to the actor Neil Ward. Please do more films. You play a crazy character so well, and I really hope they do a spin-off or like another version of this film with you in it more. Amazing. So basically, this guy's wife dies. She got like an eating disorder, and then eventually, you know, kind of kills her. Pretty sad that. Because he's in such a bad way, basically, a cannibal convinces him to say, well, if you want to join her, why don't you? Just let me do it my way. And because he's in a turmoil and a bad place, he agrees to basically be eaten by a cannibal. Yeah, I know. Sounds fucked up, doesn't it? It was actually a film called Cannibal, I believe. A German film. Was really fucked up. Same thing, but that's super serious and dark. This is a comedy. The actor's fucking stupid, ridiculous. Like when the cops are coming over and he's got like blood all around him. He's like, oh, I'm just doing artwork here. And he's covered in blood and he's just weird as shit. Just got like legs like just hanging around and things. The cop's about to look and he's like, oh, what's that? And misses it. A lot of silly things. Very funny. I didn't know what to expect with this, but yeah, really enjoyed it. Dark comedy. Yeah, again, Neil Ward, I carried this film on his shoulder. Everyone done a great job on this, but him, great. 100% get the spud, and I recommend you look out. And if you want a bit of a taste for it, go for Feed Me. That's what Maniacal Mac says. Next one came out in 2012. Called Abraham Lincoln vs. Zombies. Now, you know, this was the craze where zombie films come out left, right, and centre. I was watching them all, just one I had to watch. Based on the title, you know it's going to be quite dumb, don't you? Quite low budget, as you kind of expect, but you know, I hate saying this, but this is what held it back. The idea needed to have a bigger budget, you know, for it to be effective. The main guy who played Abraham Lincoln in this, I have seen him in other things, Bill Obsert Jr., sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I've actually seen him in other things and I like him and I think you've done a decent job in it. It was just like very limited limitations they had of it. Some of the fight scenes weren't great. Some of the decapitations were alright, but it was very CGI heavy and it felt cheap and that. Unfortunately, I'll give it a dud. You know, the effort and that was there, but I wouldn't say wasted time with it. I would say don't do it because you would waste your time with it. Right, in 2006, trauma film, so some people are going to instantly be turned off of this one. Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. Yeah, I know, ridiculous title, innit? However, even when I mentioned Trauma, I know some of you are going to be instantly turned off. This is easily one of their best. Don't get me wrong, I know they've made some shit. I am a bit of a fan of them. I'm not a huge fan, but I am a bit of a fan. I do love Lloyd Kaufman. I think he's hilarious. I think he's wild. He's nuts. I really just appreciate the fact he just don't give a fuck. And after all these years, he's still doing wild shit. Respect to him. He's doing his thing. But yeah, Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. You know, these people work in like I think like a quick fast food thing that gets infected. It turns people into zombies, but they also got chickens coming on. It's as wild as you imagine, but wilder. Like it's trauma, so you know it's going to be that. But it's actually a funny one and like pretty good effects overall. Like, you know, really silly and really dumb. But overall funny. Like a lot of trauma films, you're watching like, oh, it's not funny. Oh, come on, what are you doing? But no, I thought this was actually funny. I enjoyed the characters. Everyone's clearly having fun. You can't take this serious. As soon as the film starts, you just know what you got of it, and you're like, oh, I'm in for the ride. So, Poultrygeist gets a spud, and I recommend that. Even if you're a bit like down trauma, give it a go because it's definitely one of the better ones. Next one, talking of quite fucking like cartoony and all that mad sort of stuff, came out in '92 called Evil Toons. David Carradine's in this as well. Some really hot women in here. It knows what it is. It's called Evil Toons. Some women are paid to go and clean a house. Some woman ends up like finding a dagger in a book and does a ritual. And literally, cartoon is like Roger Rabbit, but like, you know, cartoon monsters. But it's just very comical and silly. He's like poking out the sofa. She's like, "What's that?" She gets attacked and you know, by the monster and ends up getting possessed. And it is what it is, very silly. It's self-aware silly. However, it was a bit like, oh, you're trying a bit too hard, and you know what I mean? When you're self-aware silly and you try too hard, it don't work. Some moments I did laugh, I'll be honest, especially Carradine's character. I just laugh at David Carradine just in general. But yeah, when the cartoon parts came up, he was like, what are you doing? This is really bad. It just don't blend, it don't mix. Said the ladies in there, very, very nice cast. Very eye candy, so recommend it for that. But yeah, just for what he was going for, I've seen a lot of other films like this. I would just recommend, instead of watching this, although it's not the exact same, but it's a similar mad thing, just watch like Thanksgiving or something instead. You'd have more fun with that. Unfortunately, I will give Evil Toons just on the line because I know it tried what it's trying to be, but just a dud. Just a dud. I don't want to, but it didn't quite pull off what it was going for. Right, in 1981, there was a movie that came out called Madman, slasher film, very Friday the 13th style. I think it's like, yeah, murder in a summer camp. He don't wear a hockey mask. He's very like more like kind of like a Hills Have Eyes slash wrong turn kind of caveman looking like big hillbilly thing. Because it came out in '81, but I got a feeling this must have been like filmed early '70s, and it looks like that. It comes across, even though it's '81, but like really early. Like kills not that good in there. Might be one or two, but like, you know, off-kill deaths, a lot of blood splatter, just like a bit of a cut like here and there. I've seen films like this. It just, for me, it didn't go there enough. The monster, the main guy, actually looked alright. I think he'd done a pretty decent job. But yeah, for me, I've seen a lot of these films, and like probably why you've never really heard of it. A reason for it was very boring, not very good, not very creative in the kills. The monster was right, and that was about it. Really, get a dud, bit boring. You know, a million films out there like it. It is what it is. In 2022, this film called Skull and Mask came out. Never even heard about this till recently. It's a Brazilian film, if I remember right. I think it might be based on a comic book, or it seems that's exact vibe I get from it. Like, it's fucking mad. Some dude ends up putting like a mask on, it takes over him, he becomes like a creature, a lot of gore in here, he's bit like a MacGyver kind of anti-hero guy, I guess, going on a rampage, killing fucking people, getting revenge from stuff. Some of the acting was pretty bad in here, and I think the main guy, when he's like out of his skull, when he's a human, I weren't fond of him. But then, no, when the skull mask comes in, the gore's going on, and it fighting and the killing and that. Yeah, great. I was really surprised by this one because I didn't know what to expect. I was when they're blind and really surprised by it. By all means, not everyone's cup of tea, but if you're into these films, I think you'll be surprised too. I would say go in there blind, just, kind of like a Spawn, if you're into them kind of style of films, go into it, and I think you'll think the same thing. Give it the old spud and whatnot. So yeah, Skull and Mask, hidden little hidden gem there. The other day, I watched a film that came out in 2017, but I only watched it the other day, called The Heretics. So it's like a cult kind of thing, capture a woman, she ends up escaping, and then like some guy who was like one of the cult guys who didn't end up killing himself in the sacrifice, ends up like kidnapping her, and then it turns around, he's saying, look, I'm doing it because the cult people are going to come back to you to finish a ritual, I'm here to save you, but not everything's as it seems. She's kind of like, it's not really giving away because happens throughout the film, but the woman, something's happening to her, she's not quite what it seems, and she don't know what's happening to her. Is it a transformation where, kind of thing? One of them films, really, it had ideas there, filmed really well, very good colour grading and all that, but just a lot of silly kind of decisions made in the film, and then really by the end of the film, without spoiling it, kind of the film could have ended a lot earlier. A decision that the guy makes is like, well, you could have done that, like, and saved yourself so much time, but they try and give all this story, but don't work based on a decision he goes to make and that. So I won't give it away. Some people will probably like this, I imagine. It's not a terrible film by all means, but I've seen a lot of these style films. The end was a bit like, oh, really? That's just what it's going to be, is it? Oh, well, then, kind of thing. I guess I saw that coming, but weren't executed the best. It was okay. It was okay. So I'm just about going to give it a dud, because if it's nothing better than, like, I'm impressed, I can't give it a spud, Not terrible. Not terrible, no. Right, next one came out in 2020. Now, this is called Unit 11. I heard of this being in the works, I think as early as something like 2011, maybe, something like that. A really long time ago. The director, Theo, used to do rap battling, used to be involved in Don't Flop and stuff, and a few of the people on the crew were all like rap battlers. That's why I heard about this, because I was like into all that, and they were promoting this years ago when he was talking about it in interviews, and he's a big like movie thing, he's like, oh, I'm making a film, and I assumed nothing came of it, like, and then yeah, just out of nowhere it just came out. I was like, what, that's how Unit 11, no shit, that's the guys from Don't Flop. So I was like, I gotta give it a go, haven't I, like, you know what I mean? Really cool idea. I love it. It's got a very 80s vibe, like a biochemicals taking over everything, some people are mutantish style, monsters, loads of mad shit going on with it. But the thing is, like, it's all filmed in Nottingham as well, so they've done an okay job of, like, well, because it's already quite, like, rural, it worked with the whole apocalypse feel. Some of the acting was a bit, a lot of them are rap battlers and they're not actors and stuff, like, not all of them, but some of them were, like, some of them have actually done a pretty good job, but the acting overall wasn't great. It was, filmed on a budget, you can tell. The idea was really good there, but I think the only issue with this really is the idea was so big, it needed a big budget. I know I've said this, but this one really did, like, this would have been great if, like, a Fulci fucking behind it kind of thing. I get our vibe of it. Very cheaply done. That's what, I really tried to like this because, I've heard about this one day, and I know the guy it's his passion project, so I don't want to hate on it. So I'm not going to hate on it. However, I got to be honest and real about things. It is what it is. It's a dud because it's a huge idea on a super low budget, which you just can't justify. Like, I mean? The whole world fucking going out of order, and they tried it, but it was just, you're watching a lot of it, you're like, oh, you're filming a backstreet here, and you, buddy, it's like, you can kind of tell in that, they tried. I'll give them that, though. They did definitely try. So, with more of a budget, that if they could have got some crowdfunding behind them, would have really helped them. Last one we're going to finish on, because we started on a fucking terrible, so let's end on an absolute classic. Nicolas Cage in 1988, Vampire's Kiss. So he's like just a fucking, I say normal everyday guy. He's not a normal everyday guy. He's Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is just being Nicolas Cage, but extreme Nicolas Cage. He hooks up with a woman, she bites him, and then he thinks he's becoming a vampire in the whole film. Then he's convinced he's turning, he's got fangs, he's like being all paranoid and weird. One of the craziest Nicolas Cage performances I've ever seen. He starts being all like, yes, dear. And I don't know what drugs, what kind of drugs, what combination of drugs he was on with this film, but please put him back on them and make him do a sequel to this. I am a fan of Nicolas Cage, and if you are, this is easily one of his best performances. You're gonna know he does that crazy face in this, which was a meme a lot, which I know he's a huge meme in it, but oh man, I can't get over how good this is. And it's just like, I didn't watch this until only fairly recently, and it was like I missed out. Deprived myself all these years of like not seeing this film until recently, and since I've seen it, I've watched it a lot. Absolute fantastic film, wild, silly. You'll 100% get a laugh out of this. Even if you don't know what it's about, what's going on, doesn't matter. Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage, you just watch it for him. That's all you're watching it for. And he does some crazy shit in it. SPUD all day long. Vampire's Kiss. Easily one of my favourite Nicolas Cage films. Easily one of my favourite films. But yeah, I've been Maniacal Mac, so thanks for joining. Until next time, peace out.
Maniacal Mac.